How you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Good. What is with this monkey? Did you just put that there?
I use it to grab focus. I'm sorry. I know it reminds you of your zookeeper father's terrible accident.
We're not going to talk about that.
I think it's time. You can tell the listeners. We've been doing this a long time. I think it would be therapeutic for you to tell them.
No, you can tell them. You can tell them.
I would tell them, but it seems disrespectful because, monkeys, when they go crazy, they grab for certain things.
That never happened. It never happened. I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, my God.
Oh, right.
Is it somebody else?
No, it's just something I read on Reddit. They're mean.
They're very mean, yeah.
They come after your nuts.
Why do they come after that?
I don't know.
I would think your ear or your nose.
Oh, they do that too. Like they will bite half your face off.
You need to stay off Reddit. We've talked about this. You need to stay off of Reddit. Whose dad?
I wanted a monkey when I was a kid. I'm so glad my parents could not afford a monkey.
You have a good nose. I'm glad too.
They wanted to rip my dad's balls off.
I can't even picture that. Your dad, I don't know if he would have, it would have been a strong fight.
It would have been a good fight. He was blue collar. He knew how to swing a hammer.
He did. Well, no monkey's here, so I'm going to get rid of this one, if that's okay.
Today we have Perry, Georgia. What are we doing today?
No. It's
we
Mystic.
did that already.
It's Mystic, Connecticut, honey.
We're not doing Guilford?
No.
Oh, because you messed that episode up. We recorded an episode for Guilford and Denise totally botched it.
That is not true.
So we're going to do it again. Today we're doing Mystic, Connecticut. Let's roll.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey listeners, ever wonder what it would be like to blow up your comfort zone at the tender age of 50? Well, we did just that. When our last kid went off to college, we hit the road in search of a new hometown. Now we bounce from city to city and bring you along for the ride. This is the Skiptown All-Stars podcast. It's not nice that you say I screwed up Guilford. You were the one that completely hijacked it. Okay?
Why would you say that?
Because it is true, but we're not talking about Guilford right now. We are talking about Mystic, Connecticut. Try not to screw it up.
Okay. We had fun in Connecticut.
See, welcome back.
I messed it already. But you interrupted me. So you interrupted me messing up.
Welcome back, All-Stars.
Okay. Welcome back, All-Stars, to another edition of Skiptown All-Stars. How we doing, Trixie?
We're doing really good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry to bring up your father's accident. Today we're going to talk about Mystic, Connecticut. As the lady said, we had the opportunity to go out there just 2 days ago.
We did, and we had a really good time. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you are going to see that we are in the same location as we were for the Perry, Georgia episode, and you may see a kitty cat or 2 or 3 bouncing around because we are currently house sitting. And if James doesn't screw up the Guilford episode, you'll know all about that. But before we even
You just screwed it up. You said the Guilford episode.
Yeah, because we're going to do another Guilford episode.
Oh, did I just screw it up again?
Here we go. Anyway, so if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell a friend, share it. And if you're listening to the podcast, if you feel so inclined, leave a review. We always love it. Apple Podcasts allows you to leave reviews. Spotify is a star rating. So we'd love to just get your feedback, and it helps us get in front of other people. So if you could take a minute and do that, we'd really appreciate it. But let's get back to Mystic, Connecticut.
Mystic, Connecticut. We woke up pretty early on a Saturday morning. There was still snow on the ground here and everywhere in this part of Connecticut. We forced ourselves to get up out of the cold, out of the warm beds on a Saturday morning. We decided it was the best time we could get over there.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing surprising about being in Connecticut, and we did this to ourselves, is that we decided to come in the winter because everyone said it was mild. But what is surprising is that it's not mild. There's nothing mild about this. We've had a snowstorm. We've been snowed in. And within the same week now, another snow. So we leave Saturday with it snowing, snow on the ground. I don't understand the definition of mild, but whatever. I mean, all that to say it's still warmer than Chicago, because when it's 28 here, it's like negative 45 in Chicago. So it's still warmer.
It's definitely warmer. I'd say out of the month we've been here, about 10 days have had snow on the ground, right? Maybe a little more?
Yeah, I'd
12,
say.
something like that. So I guess that's considered mild when you're living in a winter climate.
I guess so.
Not bad.
No, but I mean, I did hear last summer that it doesn't snow very often. We've had two snows in 1 week, so whatever. But getting to Connecticut, everyone that we bumped into kept saying to us, you need to go to Mystic. And the very first time I heard that was last summer when we were headed to Connecticut. Patrick said, you have to check out Mystic. And I thought to myself immediately of Mystic Pizza. So if you are Gen X, you know exactly Mystic Pizza, except for James, because he's the only person I've come across who's never seen Mystic Pizza.
There have been a couple people who have commented on our Facebook post that said, what is this I'm missing?
I doubt it. They were not Gen X then. They were millennials.
They were totally. One of them is my cousin, so I know for a fact she is Gen X.
This is an Ohio thing then, clearly.
Well,
so,
we didn't get movies in my hometown, so...
There's no video stores? There was no movie theater?
There were
you
video
never went
stores.
to a movie theater.
You had to see
when
Rocky.
This is when you're 20, not when you're 8. Mystic Pizza came out when we were
I saw Singles. Does that count? It's probably the same movie.
It's not the same movie. But in any case, when Patrick told us about Mystic, I immediately thought Mystic Pizza. And before I could even ask him, is there really a Mystic Pizza? He immediately said, oh, and by the way, there's really a Mystic Pizza. So I knew that when we were coming back for the winter, it was a must see. Subsequently being here, everyone has said you have to go to Mystic. And they don't even mention the pizza place. Not even a mention of it. They're just always saying, Mystic is beautiful. You have to check it out. It's pretty much indescribable. I mean, you can see it in magazines, and it's been in like every travel and leisure, best places to visit.
Yep.
But to see it firsthand, it's just really, really beautiful. And I see why it's highly recommended when you're in Connecticut to go visit.
Yeah, so we made our way on the 95 north, even though it runs east-west through the state of Connecticut, and we got off the freeway right away. There was the Old Mystic Village that everybody told us to go to, but we bypassed that right out of the gate, and we wanted to see sort of the town area, the center of town. The first thing we saw when we made that one turn was, well, there was a statue, I guess, in the town, in the little town roundabout or whatever.
Yeah,
but
it's George Washington.
that was, I think we saw that later though. I don't know, it doesn't matter. But we saw somebody.
It was George Washington.
In the tall statue in the roundabout?
I think there's only one roundabout.
You're talking about the head.
Yeah, that was only one roundabout.
No, there was another one.
Okay.
She was sleeping.
I was actually not sleeping. It was
so-
a one time I wasn't.
She was catching flies.
I was not.
And I woke her up when we got to the drawbridge. That is really the gateway into the town of Mystic.
And it's an actually functioning drawbridge.
It is. It has the two big cement weights that pull the bridge up. The day we went there, obviously, was winter, so there weren't a lot of barges coming through. So I didn't see the drawbridge go up even once. But
no, it didn't. But we have a photo of the drawbridge on our social media, so please check it out. I did not know that a drawbridge is weighted by cement blocks. Not all of them are.
No.
That was pretty incredible. I mean, the photo is amazing. It was a really good shot that you took.
Yeah, it was. Thanks.
I compliment you when it's deserved.
I appreciate it. So we got into town, and the first thing we decided we were going to do was look for gloves because you had forgotten yours. Was that the day you forgot yours?
Okay, why is this all about me? First of all, I had my gloves. They were on. My hands were toasty. You did not bring gloves, and we packed for a trip to Connecticut, and you decided to leave your gloves back in a suitcase that is labeled winter. Okay? Legit, we have it in a garage somewhere. It is labeled winter. There are the cats. And your gloves?
Oh, man, they're like scrapping. They're like running up the stairs, all three of them.
But anyway, his gloves.
It's like Pet Cemetery up in here.
It is. Are in a winter suitcase somewhere. So no, James, no, I had my gloves. We were looking for gloves for you.
Oh, you forgot your gloves a different day. We'll get into that in another episode. But I did actually forget my gloves. Ironically, I'm shoveling snow in Connecticut and my gloves are in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, I think they're hunting the one.
Should we like intervene?
No, he climbed all the way up to the ceiling now.
Okay.
I'm sure you can see him in the background. The posse's over. This is so random.
So in this house, just real quick, I'm going to say for any of you listening and you can't see it on YouTube, but you can maybe hear the patter. There is a beautiful Siamese cat in this house. I mean, Siamese cats are the prince jewel of the feline species.
The crown jewel.
Oh yeah, it's crown jewel.
Not the princess jewels. You see where my mind's at today.
Completely.
Yeah.
Anyway, Siamese cats are thousands of dollars, and this home has a beautiful Siamese. The owners of the home, the wife also volunteers at a shelter, an animal shelter, and thought she was doing a good deed by bringing 2 thugs home from the shelter
My God.
that have been there for 4 years. And all they do is beat up on this like beautiful elite cat. I mean, it is constant. I say take the thugs back. Take them back to the pen.
That's a highly charged word nowadays. You know that, right?
The thugs?
Thugs.
Why?
Because it's generally used as a term by white supremacists to refer to black men.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
I just thought it was criminals.
No, not anymore.
Oh.
It's
What
been
do I
hijacked.
say?
Like patriotism or all that, it's been hijacked.
Well, they're criminals, what they're doing in this house
Yeah,
to this
let's
cat.
call them parolees.
Perfect. Okay, these 2 parolees need to go back to the pound. I'm not kidding. Like, they don't even belong with this fine specimen of a Siamese cat. So all they do is beat this cat up, and I have to constantly intervene. I am like his protector. What is going to happen when I leave?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question.
We woke up in the middle of the night. They had him cornered.
They did have him cornered.
And I had to like go in there.
They were mugging him.
100%.
Yeah. And all he wanted to do was climb into bed with you.
This poor little cat. Okay, anyway, back to Mystic. I had my gloves. You were looking for gloves and went to how many stores?
I went to about 6 stores. I actually did find some in the Army Navy, but they had like military insignia all over them. And, I'd never served. I appreciate those who did, but I'm not one of them. So there's no way I'm going to be walking around Mystic wearing that, especially when the U.S. Coast Guard Academy is like right across the river. So
Good call.
I did look around. Thanks. I did look around and realized that if I had purchased gloves and if I were wearing them, I would have stuck out like a sore thumb because nobody else, male, female, children, nobody was wearing gloves. So I really do feel, going back to our conversation about whether winter is mild here or not, I feel like they feel it's mild because there are plenty of people with stocking caps or like beanies on, but stocking caps, are those like the long Ebenezer Scrooge caps?
No,
what are
stocking caps are like what robbers use when they like pull it over their face.
No, those are ski masks.
No, nylon stocking caps are like, aren't those the stocking caps when they rob in a
Those
bank?
are pantyhose.
Yeah, that's a stocking cap.
No, it's not a stocking cap.
What's a stocking cap?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. I just aged myself by 35 years. Just saying the word stocking
I
cap.
thought it was like the thing they use when they rob banks.
I feel my arthritis creeping into my joints every time I say the word stocking cap.
Well,
so
whatever the
scratch
case,
that from the record.
Okay, whatever the case may be, your hands were cold, mine were warm, and I did not care about sticking out like a sore thumb because my hands were nice and toasty all day.
Yeah. Well, when I saw little Timmy, who was probably 4 years old, walking around without any gloves, I'm like, if little Timmy can handle it, I can handle it. So in the end, I stopped my search looking for gloves. I went into art galleries. There are a couple art galleries.
Art galleries don't have gloves.
They do not have gloves. I'm saying, that's what I said. I aborted the mission of finding gloves and decided to just grin and bear it and enjoy myself.
How'd that go?
It went great. The weather actually wasn't that bad. It was cold because, we're weak and we're soft from living in a sunny environment for 30 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was cold. 28 degrees means cold to me, whether I'm in California or I'm in Connecticut.
I know, but you're
cold.
it wasn't like I was, loading gravel in the back of a truck in that weather or something like that. I wasn't shoveling the snow this time around.
No.
I wasn't chopping firewood.
You could handle a little walk down Main Street is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the first place we went was a place called, what was the donut shop's name?
Honey Buns, I thought.
young buns.
Young buns.
Young buns donuts.
Yeah, that was the first stop. So let me just paint the picture. You drive over this drawbridge and you're immediately greeted by a main street that looks like your typical East Coast seaside village. It really does. All the buildings are just, one on top of the other. It stretches for about, my guess is, 3 blocks. So it's not huge. It's not a large main street. There are 2 arteries that go off. I'm going to say this is a north-south main street. 2 arteries go east-west, and there are some restaurants and shops that run east-west. But it's a very tight and compact main street. And there's water everywhere. So when I say a seaside village, Connecticut style seaside village, it really, really is. The buildings are older. Some are from, 1700s. Some are wood, some are brick. It's charming. It's quaint. Mm-hmm. It's all the things that you could imagine that we're describing right now. There are boats that are still in the water, covered obviously because of the winter. The boardwalk is behind some of the stores. The boardwalk is in front of some of the stores that, are sit on the water. It's just beautiful. And it was winter and it was busy. So this place is a tourist attraction in the summer for several reasons. One of them just being that it is a beautiful area to walk. And so in the summer, it's packed. Our car, we couldn't even find a parking space in the winter, which I can't even imagine what the summer looks like.
Oh my gosh. Trying to park was easy when we first got there. Then we moved later and we came back and...
Because we got there early at like 10:30.
Yeah, we got there pretty early. And it took kind of forever when we came back. We went driving around a little bit.
Because there are homes also located on the arteries that I mentioned that go east-west off the downtown. So there are homes. So you have tourists and you have residents that live there that are all vying for parking. Some of the homes have driveways. Some people have to park on the street. But yeah, so the very first place, let me go back to what you were saying, that we wanted to check out was Honey Buns. Because it's
Young Buns.
Oh, I think Honey Buns is just a better name.
No, you're thinking of Honey Baked Ham.
I'm absolutely not thinking of Honey Baked Ham. I'm thinking of Honey Buns.
Young Buns Donuts.
Anyway, so we went there. It's cute. It's on Main Street, and they have all kinds of creative donuts. It's on my Instagram. I posted a picture of it. It was adorable. It was really, really cute, and it was a good donut.
What was a good donut?
Well, your donut was a good donut. My donut was just okay, but your donut was really good.
Ever since we had our sort of cathartic moment about Denise sharing food or not wanting to share food, she has shared my food no less than 4 times.
I would say that's pretty true. Like, how when you bring something, oh, look, you have a friend. Mm-hmm. One of the
kitty. Me.
Yeah.
One of the mean kitties. One of the surly ones. Game, respect, game. See, they're chasing him again. Okay, go on.
Oh, okay. Yes, it is true. Since we had that discussion, it's one of those things where when topics are unspoken, they're just unspoken. And then when you bring it to light, attention is suddenly drawn to it in so many different ways. So the discussion about me not sharing has now prompted me to eat your food all the time. I don't even know why.
I know.
I don't even know why. I don't even like cream-filled donuts, and I ate yours.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
The what do they call it? The Mystic Cream, I think it was called. It was a Boston cream donut, but it was Mystic's own spin on it. It was Young Bun's own spin on it.
It was so good.
It was damn good.
Okay, I'm going to explain
and they had
to you.
Gold dust on it.
Yeah, I'm going to
What
explain
is that
to you.
stuff?
I don't even know, but it was delicious. I'm just going to explain really quick why this donut was so good, and then we'll move on. The pastry itself was very fresh, soft, firm, but not too firm. The cream wasn't that crappy pudding. It was a real delicious cream-filled.
It was a custard.
It was a custard. And then the frosting on top, the chocolate, it wasn't that crappy, sweet chocolate. It was like a cocoa chocolate. Oh, it was
You're saying
so
that
delicious.
Super passionately right now.
Because all 3 of those
You're
combined.
having a moment.
I did. I did have a moment. All 3 of those combined made for a beautiful donut.
I had a couple bites of it. Denise took mine, and then I ended up with her Teamster donut.
You did call it a Teamster donut. I don't even know what that means.
Teamster donut is just kind of like, guys know. I think anybody who grew up in a blue collar area knows what a Teamster donut. A Teamster donut is your sort of quintessential homemade bear claw that's glazed. Yours was not. Let me finish.
Okay.
But there are a few varietals of the Teamster donut.
Explain.
One of them is a straight glazed, but it's usually like the thick, dense glazed donut. Or, because, guys hungry. Uh-huh. And who wants to eat 3 donuts in front of everyone?
Right.
You need a good, hefty glazed donut. Or, like you had the, what was it, like a crumble type donut?
It was. It was a vanilla donut cake with a crumble. And normally I don't even get those, but she said it was a classic. And you were right.
Yes. And it wasn't like a sticky bun. It was like,
Not
but it
at all.
was sweet throughout. So it wasn't like you were biting into something that had sugar coating on the outside and just tasted like bread in the middle. It was a good donut. I thought it was a good, solid
It did
Teamster
have
donut.
that crumble all over it.
It did. Went well with my coffee. I was fine. And we ordered some donut holes, which I devoured later that night for dessert. So
So that was our first stop. And then from there, we really did just walk the main street. And like any typical main street, you had bookstores, local bookstores, you had coffee shops, lots of boutiques, lots of knickknacks from the local area, funny like stores that had, the cute little aprons or, the coasters that had funny sayings on them. You also had obviously lots of restaurants. I do think to myself, how many restaurants can one little main street have? It is kind of crazy how many restaurants there are on almost every main street we've ever visited, and Mystic being one of them. And then we did see Mystic Pizza. So Mystic Pizza was pretty much at the end of Main Street. And I don't know what I was expecting. I'm not really sure. It was just a sign that said Mystic Pizza.
did you explain the movie for those who don't know?
No.
Julia Roberts' second movie. Did you say that already?
I have not. I haven't talked about the movie at all.
I think you should.
I know. I'm going to. But I was just like painting the picture of Mystic.
Okay.
So that's pretty much like Mystic. Like and it's totally cute.
Yeah. Bunch of shops, bunch of outerwear, a bunch of, I don't know, you were looking at ladies' stores or whatever. I was beginning to say earlier that I went into a gallery. It was all seafaring art. I actually met one of the artists upstairs. Yeah, I think his name is Russ Kramer or something like that. It was right on the corner. You can't miss it.
Yeah.
The 2 main streets that intersect in the downtown area. And he was nice. He showed me around. I saw some of his pieces and everything. It's not really I don't know. We're not, I feel like I would be a poser if I bought one of his paintings.
Why?
Strangely enough. Because we're not seafaring people. We didn't grow up in a seaport. I appreciate it. It was really well done. Hyper realistic paintings, really, really well done. The only thing he was showing though in the gallery were prints. All of his originals currently have sold.
Oh wow. We do find that we do find being in Connecticut and the part of Connecticut that we were visiting, which is on the shore, a lot of nautical themed houses. People have nautical themed rooms. So being in a town like Mystic, a nautical art gallery is really par for the course.
Oh, yeah.
We see this quite a bit.
Absolutely. Look, it's a seaport.
Yes.
So naturally there's a lot of hustling. It's a highly functioning seaport. And I don't say that in the ADD way. I mean that in the, there's a lot of, you could tell there were still some boats out there doing their thing.
Yes.
Even on this blustery winter day when we were there. It was more than blustery. It actually snowed.
It did.
While we were there. So I can only imagine in the summer just how tight quarters that channel coming up the river could be with all the vessels out there and everything. Especially, I can't even imagine 4th of July. It just has to be, you can walk from one boat to the next.
I was going to mention that it is a working port. Lots of oyster houses around, fish houses, and you know why when you're there, because they are out getting them and bringing it back to the town. It's pretty apparent it's a working port. The movie. Okay, so Mystic Pizza is a pizza place that is in Mystic, Connecticut. And the story has it that the writer of the movie visited Mystic during a summer, would have pizza at Mystic Pizza, and wrote a movie just about 3 waitresses living in Mystic, Connecticut, and their, love adventures. And it was all set in Mystic Pizza, where they were waitresses. The movie itself was filmed in several locations, but Mystic was obviously one of them. And you're right, it was Julia Roberts' second movie. It's a rom-com. It came out in 1988. Pretty popular, was an independent movie, but like gained lots of attention because Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel, back at the time, the 2 huge movie critics, gave it a thumbs up. And
2 thumbs up?
It was 2 thumbs up. They both gave it a thumbs up.
Hot diggity dog.
And I guess the story also goes that it became so popular for tourists that they had to add 3 more levels to the pizza place just to accommodate the lines out the door. And I guess also people were, taking up area in the street and really causing like congestion because they wanted to take pictures in front of the pizza place. When we went, it was fine. I mean, there wasn't a line out the door. We were told by the host that if we wanted to really get a seat and not wait in line, we should come around 5 or after 8 o'clock. And so we did. We came at 5, and it was perfect. There was no line, and we got a seat inside the pizza place.
Yep.
I actually got some memorabilia too. They have a little gift shop, and there's pictures of Julia Roberts all over, the cast all over. And while we were eating dinner, it was so perfect. We were eating in the bar area, and they started the movie right there. There was no volume, but it just brought me back. Like, I got so sucked in immediately, like completely got sucked in.
Yeah, we were talking, and then all of a sudden I was eating there by myself.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's okay. It must be what it's like when I see the game, when the game is on.
That's exactly what it's like.
Is that how it feels?
Yeah, I guess so.
That
Completely
lonely,
disappeared.
aching feeling that I got that day is what you experience?
It's like eating dinner alone. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
So we took some pictures of Mystic outside. I actually have a video on my Instagram of their menu if anyone is interested to see what their menu looks like. It's really super simple. We ended up ordering 2 pizzas. You got yourself, like, I don't know.
You don't like what I like. So
No.
you got yours and I got mine.
Yeah. So I did a video of that too. And the pizza was good. It wasn't like the best pizza I've ever had. It was fine. It was above average, but it wasn't, thank God, like that crappy touristy pizza. I was really like hoping it wouldn't be that. And it wasn't. It was just like an above average pizza.
I was worried we were going to get Times Square pizza.
Yeah, I was too.
Yeah.
But we didn't. So it was fine.
It was good. Yeah, it was fine. Everybody asked me on I posted a photo. I got two overriding comments. How was the pizza? And why did Denise order her own pizza? She doesn't even want to share pizza. and so
Well, I ordered my own pizza because I like sausage, and you wanted to get like peppers and mushrooms and all this stuff on it that I did not want.
Yeah, I ordered the house pizza. So I'm still partial to Frank Pepe's in New Haven, but hey, it wasn't a bad pie.
No, not at all. And so we did do that. And then also while we were there, speaking of food, look, you're in a port, so you should have fish. So we went to an oyster house.
We did. It was called the Oyster House.
It was, yes.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
It was lunchtime, although we weren't super hungry because we had
the donut.
Young Buns.
Yeah.
Because we had the donuts in the morning. But I did want to sit down just for a little bit. I had popped my head into every single shop down there at that point. It was within 2 hours, 3 hours, something like that.
I did too.
So it was time for a little drink. I have found on the East Coast, they actually know how to make martinis. They do not know how to make them in Florida. They do not know how to make them really in Texas. Dallas is the exception. It's a problem. It's a nationwide epidemic.
Okay, well.
People have forgotten how to make a good dry gin martini. They dump the olive juice in there even when you don't ask them to. Mm-hmm. I don't like that. I like a couple olives. Anyway, this particular drink, not as good as the one we'll talk about later in the Guilford episode, but it was really solid. Place was good.
Is a martini or is the martini the drink for oysters, or is it a Bloody Mary?
I think a lot of people would probably do a Bloody Mary.
Okay.
I just feel like an old Yankee if I order a gin martini dry and have some oysters.
Oh, so when in Rome is what you're doing.
When in Rome, even though I did do it in Florida with a very crappy martini.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. It just seems, for me, it's the perfect pairing. I don't know. When I get oysters, and this time we actually tried little neck clams.
Yes. So we're in an area, gosh, all up and down the coast, clamming is quite popular here. I've never had a clam. So I've never even had
Have you had fried? You ever had fried clams as a side or whatever?
I think I
on your
had-
shrimp feast at Red Lobster?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I did not. I think I had a baked clam once. I think. I might even
Those
be
are
making
good.
that up. But I think I may have had a baked clam once. So when we went to this oyster house, I did when we went to this oyster house, I thought to myself, I have to have clams. Like, how could I be on the coast of Connecticut and not have clams? So I had a couple and they were delicious.
Yeah. You did very well. You ate a bunch, and then I ordered some more, and I ate a bunch, and I had a drink, and you hung out. You had some sort of mushroom soup. You really went off the reservation that day in terms of your normal palate.
It's true. And I'll never order mushroom soup again.
Oh, you were trying to tell me how good it was.
It was good. And then when I was done, I was like, okay, I'll never do that again. So after we had our meal at the oyster house, it was really fun because the waitress suggested that we go down the street, literally just to walk down the street to one of the oldest buildings in Mystic. It's like 250 years old, and it's called the Daniel Packer Inn.
Yep.
And it used to be an old inn. And the story has it that the owner of the inn would take his boat across the river. I don't know exactly what was across the river.
No, I think it was a pulley system they were describing where he would go out, or he would drag them into the inn to have
What
beers.
do you mean, like by their hair?
No. Like with a hook or whatever. You'd hook their boats
Oh,
and
he'd hook
pulley
their-
them in.
All of that sounds.
It sounds like
them
kidnapping.
with a hook.
It sounds
Okay,
like kidnapping.
so
It
wait,
sounds like being
who are these
Shanghai.
people?
This is.
Who are
It sounds
these
like a
people?
Savannah, Georgia type story.
Who are these people he's hooking and dragging into their inn? I
People
don't.
who want to drink, I think.
So it's people that are on the
It probably
river.
wasn't much of a fight.
Okay, you just hijacked my story. Anyway, she just said, go to the oldest building down the street. It's now a bar restaurant. You have to check it out because it's just quite a sight. So we walk in, and the way you have to, well, there are a couple.
What are you?
There are a
What's
couple
so funny?
different entrances to this place, but the way we went in was through the basement. And when you walk in through the basement, it's a bar and
It's a body little bar room.
It's tiny. It's a bar that seats 4 people, and there's 6 tables for food, and they're little round tables. So we're big people.
Yeah.
We're big people.
You could smell 200-year-old beer coming out of the wood planks,
Yes,
right?
and the ceilings are low in the basement, and so when we walk in, there are 6 tables
We
and
blotted
4
out
people.
the sun. We opened the door and it cast the entire room in darkness.
And then everybody looks at us, like every single person, because there's only like 12 people there. So they all look at us, and we walk in, and it is like the most awkward thing because they were all talking, and then it was silent, and then we walk in because we don't, and we're like, where do we go? There's like, we don't even know where to go. So we just immediately go to the bar, and then James goes, we're tourists.
I did. I go, we're tourists. And they all started laughing.
He broke the silence because they're all like, who are these idiots? Like,
I
that's
know.
like, first of all, nobody probably even goes through that door. And they're like, who are these idiots right now? So when he said that, it was hysterical. It's like, oh, these 2 dum-dums. So
They were really nice, though. The bartender,
were really-
Geraldina,
I think it was
Something like
Jodina, yeah.
something like that.
And
And then the lady sitting at the bar, the minute I go, we're tourists, like that, she handed me a pamphlet on the place. And it had the menu, but it was really more about the history and everything of the joint.
And then they told us to go upstairs because that's where the proper restaurant is. And then the 3rd floor has like another level of the restaurant. And it was fantastic. It's very small, original walls, original floor. The wood on the floor is 200 years old. It's pretty incredible. You can actually between the planks is a lot of space, and you can see down in the basement where people are eating. It's kind of
where
crazy.
we walked in.
Yeah, exactly where we walked in. The menu looked fine. We just had eaten, so we weren't going to eat again, but it was pretty incredible. Just, I mean, the mantles, there was 7 fireplaces in this building, and they were all original from 250 years ago. It was just, I don't know. In our travels, other than Savannah, we haven't been in areas that have that kind of history. I mean, Greenville did, but not like that. Not in the places we visited in Greenville. We haven't seen that kind of history other than Savannah, from my recollection.
Well, Savannah's and St. Augustine are definitely the oldest.
Yes.
Both of those. But here, it's kind of like you find it town after town after town.
You do. And everyone's proud of it. They want to tell you about it and say, go visit.
Yeah. It was this particular place was interesting because, it was an inn at some point on the top floor where we were.
Yeah.
And whenever they decided to make it a full-scale dining room, they did, like you said, they took some of the original wood and that became some of the planking for some of the, for the dining room floor and all that, where as they sort of deconstructed the rooms, they reused a lot of that material. So
I don't know. She told me, the hostess, that the wood was the original from the inn. So I don't think they actually took any wood and made it the floor. The floor was the original.
I thought there was some sort of accident or fire or something. No, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking somewhere else.
Huh. No, there was a fire there for sure. There were pictures on the wall. But I thought she said the wood floors were original. But no, you could be right. You can absolutely be right. But then you told me that fire preserves wood? Because I was like, how did this building still standing?
We saw another building. Where they sort of char the wood on the outside, especially I think with some cedar once in a while. There are other types of hardwoods where they can do it.
Because you see odd things like that when you're traveling along the water. And one of them was behind this building where there was another building. It looked like it was 200 years old. But
yeah.
The wood was really charred, and you had mentioned that, and that was something I never knew.
Yeah, it looked intentional. It didn't look like there was a fire there or anything. It was not like there were big black streaks coming out of one window or something. It was like the entire building was sort of uniformly charred, and I think that's just a way for them to degrade the wood and create a coating on it that will last, so they don't have to either paint it or lacquer it every single year, kind of thing.
I did not know that.
You see that like when, I grew up in a hick town where like once in a while there's some guy who does like wood burning and all that. And
to his house?
No, like to a plaque or whatever. Like
I know, but it's
like
different
they make
on
a raccoon.
Building.
I know, but if you go there right now and that raccoon plaque that Joey made is out in the woods right now, that thing's still intact. Okay. Like it's not, the wood that he didn't burn will probably be degraded or rotting. But the burnt wood, you can still see that raccoon looking right back at you.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of history here. Mm-hmm. Lots of history.
As told by me. So, anyway, moving on. After that, we went to Old Mystic. We decided to go to Old Mystic.
We did, because people had told us you have to go to Old Mystic. So we did. And it was really more, I felt, touristy than the downtown area. A lot of mysticism here. That is the one thing. Like when you go into these shops, whether it was Old Mystic or Downtown Mystic, lots of crystals, witchcraft books, crazy stuff like that. Like
paganism.
I did not know. Like I know there's The Conjuring and A Haunting in Connecticut, but I had no idea. Like I thought that stuff was just for Salem. I did not realize that bled into Connecticut.
No, I mean, like the area around Yale University and New Haven and all that is allegedly said to be a hotbed of paranormal activity. So it's, 400 years, a lot of religious exiles came here, criminals, mysticism, sailors, people who had traveled to other cultures, the Caribbean, wherever. There's maybe,
Really?
Somebody was introduced to the Santeria at some point. Who knows? But I mean, the Wiccan thing and paganism and, I mean, everywhere you look, there's like astrology going on.
That's true. It's kind of weird. I mean, I just did not think that of Connecticut at all. I was thinking of picket fences and like hiking and
Soup.
yeah, 100%. And fishing. I was not thinking of crystals, mysticism, or witches.
Yeah.
Even when we first got here, somebody called me and said, is a house you're staying in haunted? And I go, that's like Salem. And they're like, no, Denise, that is Connecticut. And I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
And he was right.
It turns out when, something's 300 or 400 years old, a few people die here and there in on those premises.
Yeah.
So,
So we saw some of those shops in the old village of Mystic. And we saw it downtown too, but there were quite a few in the old village. But then it had like a movie theater. It just, to me, seemed a little more touristy than the downtown area. I would say visit it, and probably in the summer, it's nicer. It's quite large, so you have plenty of places to walk. And we got lucky because even though it was chilly out and you kind of wanted to bounce in the stores to warm up, there was a ice sculpture contest or showing or something going on. So a lot of the stores had these beautiful ice sculptures outside the store. So if it was a toy store, there was an ice sculpture of a teddy bear. If it was ice cream store, there'd be an ice sculpture of an ice cream cone. I took a lot of pictures and have it on our social media. So the work was unbelievable. Like, there was one that had a bird. I don't know what the store was. I don't recall, but it had a bird, and the feathers of the ice sculpture were incredible. I mean, these are true ice sculpture artists. Like, amazing, amazing. What? Why are you laughing? I don't see
like white ladies love ice sculptures.
The last time I saw an ice sculpture was at a ballroom of the Hilton, and it was chilling shrimp.
You should have gone on even a Carnival cruise line, like they do it every single week. There's some guy with 2 knives hacking away at this thing.
Are you serious?
Making a fish. Yeah, and all the ladies line up when it's dinner time and like, oh, look at the sculpture. And it's like, I don't know.
I guess it's a white person
in
thing.
terms of the art world, to me, it feels like a little bit of the macaroni mosaic of art.
Oh, I think it's really hard to get like texture and detail out of a piece of ice. So you say whatever you want. I want to see you with 2 knives and see what you come up with.
Okay.
I thought they were really good. I was thoroughly impressed with the art sculptures.
I was meh. Art sculptures.
You were actually, you acted.
You were taking photos, and I was like dipping into stores and stuff.
At one point I saw him just staring at me, and I was like, what? He's like, are you done? I was like, could you make a feather out of ice?
They did have a feather. They had a 4-leaf clover in front of the Irish bar.
No, they had a feather.
And the only thing I could think about is while she's taking a 4-leaf clover, picture of the 4-leaf clover, I'm going to go in and get a pint. Anyway, ice
We are so
sculptures.
different, my friend. We are so different.
White ladies love ice sculptures.
Whatever.
It's amazing. Okay, anyway. I mean, it's cute. I like that you like what you like, honey.
Mystic Village. It's your choice if you want to visit.
It's good if you have kids. If you're a millennial with some kids and you want to go catch a movie and get some saltwater taffy and all that other stuff, it's good. It was a good environment for children. There are a couple coffee shops there.
Yeah.
A bar, as I mentioned. There's definitely a place where if you want to go buy a $300 kitchen knife, you can go do that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There are some stores in there that are really expensive. And I think now is the perfect time to talk about money and houses and all that stuff. Because when you walk into a store where they sell one knife for $300, that tells you the people, the clientele, not just of that store, but the people that live in the area that can afford a $300 knife.
Yeah.
And this wasn't like a buck knife. This was like just like a ham knife.
Yeah. Let's talk about that then.
Okay.
You want to get into the wealth in the Mystic area?
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's the headline. The Skip Towners cannot afford a house in Mystic, Connecticut. Well, we can. We could buy a $650 2-bedroom,
$50,000
1-bath house.
$650,000.
Is that what I said?
Nope, you said $650.
Oh, it's well over $650. $650K, we can get a 2-bedroom, 1-bath near the town center.
For how many square feet?
I would say 1,100, maybe, something like that.
And the photo you showed me of that was a teardown.
It was, yeah.
Did you hear that?
The siding was coming off of the house.
I think you need to say that again.
It was a teardown.
No, I think
$650 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, about 1,100 square feet, tear down.
And somebody did tell us that if we were interested in a condo, they pointed us in the right direction and said, oh, they're beautiful. They're on the water, a stone's throw from Main Street. We thought, oh, let's look at that. What was the price of those, babe?
Those condos were $1 million and up. I don't know the square footage of them.
Those condos were $1.9 million. That's
They were
exactly.
1.9?
They were $1.9 million, and they were 2,200 square feet.
My figures were slightly off.
Yeah.
By 0.9
A
of a million.
condo that you share 2 walls with another person most of the time, unless you have a corner unit, and 1.9 million for 2,200 square feet.
Wow.
A condo. And you might only get 1 parking space with that. I mean, I think it's extra for 2. And the building was like nothing fantastic. It was so like nothing fantastic that I couldn't even tell, was it a building that they made look old or was it an old building? Like it was like, didn't have a lot of character. So to me, I was like, I think they took red brick and tried to just, make it blend with the rest of Mystic, but it was a newer build. Yeah, it was mind-boggling. A listener sent me a message while we were there and asked, what's real estate like? And when I told her houses start at $2 million, she could not believe it. Well, we could not believe it either. We were there. We were house hunting, legitimately house hunting on Zillow, and driving from area to area, and kept doing U-turns. Okay, can't do that one. Can't do that one.
Can't do that one. We went to Mason Island. First off, we couldn't even get on it. It was basically like Skidaway Island or something in Savannah.
Private island.
It was a private island, although there was a stretch where you could look at the houses, and all of those houses were like 2.5 and up. So,
yeah. So if you want to live in Mystic,
good luck.
And we noticed
Godspeed.
a lot of them. Okay, here's the kicker. This is just a cherry on top, people. Second homes. Those were not full-time residents in a lot of those places.
Many
second
of them
homes.
were not, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that was confirmed by a local.
Yep. So that sums up our real estate tour of the program. We've quickly decided there are definitely some opportunities within 20 miles of the downtown area, but you're driving pretty far out. If you want to be in a seaport town, you're really looking at a smallish house, and you're probably paying at least $500K for it right now, currently in the neighborhood of $600 to $700.
In Mystic, not 20 miles
Inside
out.
Mystic.
And to note, if you are going to buy a house in a town like Mystic, there's not a front yard or a backyard. And I mean that. The front yard is your stairs, are your stairs. The front yard is or are. Which one
Yard
is?
is.
The yard is your stairs. And the backyard is your stairs. There is no front or backyard. So you're just getting a house to have access to the water.
Yeah.
And even when you go further out of Mystic, like if you're going to just go toward Mystic Village, which is a little further out, it doesn't
Old
change.
Mystic,
Yeah, sorry, Old Mystic, Mystic Village, it doesn't change. The houses are the same. They're on top of each other. So you're honestly buying for location only.
Yeah.
Only. You are not buying for house or space, because those houses, even away from downtown, they're all the same. They all look the same. They're older. They're 2 stories, but they're not large. My guess is 1,700 square feet at most. So you really have to venture out to get space, and that's going to cost a couple of $1 million.
Yeah. Now, you asked about a beach, right? What was the answer? Didn't you ask the waitress if there was a beach nearby?
Yeah, there's a beach. She said there was a beach nearby.
Okay.
Yeah.
So really, you either have a boat, you want to work on a boat, or you want to work in a town where you can make a lot of money during the season.
Yes.
As, in the service industry or what have you.
Yeah.
Those are the biggest reasons to want to. I mean, I'm sure many of those places that we saw near downtown, like right in that epicenter, a lot of those places have got to be rentals, don't you think? Like,
I think so.
Where workers rent there.
Yeah. Although some of the houses, there were cars parked, like in driveways, and the little tiny driveway that could fit like, one tiny car.
Right.
Yes, there were cars. So I think it's probably a mix, James. That's what I guess. It's like locals.
That is true, because the host, the young the little kid. He wasn't a little kid. The young kid at the restaurant says, "Oh, I grew up like 5 minutes from here. I've lived here all my life."
Yeah.
He skates down. I can't imagine. First off, I think about skateboarders going down that hill.
Yeah, it's hilly.
Yeah. I mean, the kids can do it. I was never that kind of.
You weren't that nimble.
I was never that kind of athlete, I guess.
Babe, you're not nimble.
I'm not nimble. I'm boorish. I'm definitely bull in a china shop.
You'd roll down the hill. You would
Skateboard.
literally be
Oh
on
my
a rock.
God. I wouldn't have any skin left.
You would be on the skateboard, hit a rock, and you would be rolling. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have fractures and rashes everywhere. Anyway, he brings his skate. He said, "I can't even." You know, he said it's pointless to try and get down here in the summer
With a
a
car.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he brings a skateboard, but it was so crowded. Like it started snowing in the middle of the day. We got like all 4 seasons the day we were there, right?
It is true.
It started out
seasons.
icy, then it became sunny, then there was a snow squall in the middle of the afternoon, and then leaves started falling from the trees at like 5 o'clock or something. It was weird.
It's pretty accurate.
As we were leaving, it looked like an autumn night.
It did.
With snow on the ground. But anyway, so, you know, and it was busy. It was like jumping.
Yeah,
The
it
whole
really
town was jumping.
It's winter. It's their off season.
Yeah.
But back to like the amount of money it takes to live there. You didn't just see it in real estate. You also saw it in the people walking around. And it's weird because when we go to places that are tourist driven or tourist traps, we've been to several places throughout our travels. I mean, we're tourists, so we will go to those places too because we want to talk about it on the show and tell you what they were like. Should you go? Shouldn't you go? And generally, when we go to those places, you see a myriad of people. Not in Mystic.
What do you mean?
I felt like the tourists, like everyone had on their $700 Patagonia jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone had like their expensive baby stroller that was $1,000. Like everyone had that $1,000 baby stroller. I was like, what, are there no poor people here? Like, I don't even get it. Like, they don't even come to get a honey bun donut. It's like.
There was an air about the place.
For sure.
It wasn't like snobby at all, but everybody was quiet and confident and comfortable. You could tell. That does bring up an interesting point. We talked about this as we've been traveling. What signifies or symbolizes wealth versus new money versus sort of a not so well-to-do area?
Yeah, because we've seen it across the board. I mean, look, living in LA was tons of new money. Traveling in the South is old money, like oil money. And that's like, you'll never know if a family has oil money in Texas. They hide that so well because they're wearing Wrangler jeans and
Yeah, because everybody's wearing the same thing.
and cowboy hats, and you have no idea if that person's a farmhand or if he owns the farm. It's crazy in Texas.
I do think you can tell by the hat. I personally cannot tell, but somebody who knows cowboy hats can tell.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, cowboy hats are status symbols. Definitely. The brand of your cowboy hat.
James, I was in Texas talking to the guy that owned the oil field, and I thought he
Was a worker.
yes, and he had that AMSOIL shirt on, the polo, and I thought it said Am Soil. And I thought he like worked at the soil company. And then somebody said, no,
He owns it.
that's David. He owns this property. It's all
Yes,
oil.
it's in his family's name.
And he had like a dirty baseball cap on. And like, so Texas just threw me. The South is similar to Texas. You can't always tell the South wealth, but you sort of can by like certain things with the South, like their cars,
Definitely.
their linens. Like there are certain things about the South that tells you they have money. East Coast, it's different here.
It is different here. I don't know why exactly.
I mean, we've seen it. We've seen even like Florida, Naples, new money. I mean, I don't know. Like, so yeah, we've talked about it quite a bit. What's your take?
My take here,
In general, though, like just because we've seen such a variation in our travels.
I would say the one thing that I've noticed overall is sort of, I mean, we're always looking at neighborhoods. So just let me start there. When you're in a neighborhood where the houses don't have garages, you know, like I'm not even talking like attached garages, 2-car garage. I'm saying when you're just rolling through a section of town and it just has a block of a house all the cars are in the driveway, there's no detached garage or anything, that's when you know, I'm kind of in an area that's either super blue collar or just downright, like there's a lot of poverty around here. We saw a lot of that in Louisiana.
We did.
And parts of Mississippi,
Yep.
for example. So that's one thing. And
No garage. Like, that's crazy. Like, who would think? But you're right. No garage is usually a sign of like,
with me, it resonates because I grew up poor and I lived in a neighborhood without garages. So,
wow, I never even thought of that. That's so crazy. Oh my God.
yeah, if when I drop the Lake Milton, Ohio episode, you will see my old house and you will see there's no garage, or maybe there is now, but there definitely wasn't when I was a kid. That was my backyard.
Huh. Okay.
So,
Wow.
so we weren't that well off. Obviously, we've heard it 100 times here on the podcast, but I would say you can always tell the difference whatever town you're in. Think about it. If there are more chain link fences in your area, that's usually a poor neighborhood. If there are vinyl siding fences that are sold at Home Depot and everywhere else now, you could tell that's usually a blue-collar neighborhood, that needs that fence to last for 20 years. And that's the reason it's coated in plastic. So, and then, if you get to sort of an upper middle class, I don't know how many of those communities are around
God, does that even
anymore.
exist
It just
anymore?
seems like the disparity in this country
God.
between the poor and the wealthy is so vast now. But upper middle class, you will see your sort of standard, and this is all over the country. We've seen this, the white picket fences, where,
It's true.
the
Yep.
dad goes out there and paints it every couple of years just to dress it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and then, you're in country club territory when all the gates and the fences have iron or stone or both.
Uh-huh.
Or you can't even see, you don't even know what the material is behind the fence because it's covered in ivy or it's
Yeah.
covered in, some sort of crawling vine type plant.
I never saw a stone fence until I got to Connecticut.
Oh, really?
And every stone fence has a sprawling house
Yeah.
behind it. It's insanity. Like,
Yeah.
I just thought stone fences were in Ireland or England. I didn't know they were on the East Coast.
I think that's definitely where the motif came from, for sure. I got to say the word motif.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
You did.
But
Yeah, stone fences are pretty prevalent in really wealthy neighborhoods here in Connecticut. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not going to see a stone fence in LA, that's for sure, or in Texas. Like, no. I mean, but here, oh my gosh, you don't see a stone fence and then a double wide.
yeah. But you could also see, like, even when I'm looking on Zillow, if you're looking at photos of the house, you're looking at a house in a wealthy area. If you're looking at a photo of a living room of a house that's for sale and the couch is not touching the wall.
Wait, what does a couch not against a wall have to do with
That means the room is actually large enough and the people are wealthy enough we got to get him out of here. I'm just afraid he's going to poke his head in. Yep, he's in.
It's okay.
What's up, buddy? And you see the cat in the frame right there. As you see a cat head poke up, take a drink, everyone.
Every time I see a cat, take a
Tequila
shot.
shooter.
So there's a cat in the frame right now. If you're looking
That's
at,
right.
if you're watching us on YouTube.
No, the couch. Hang on. No, the couch on the wall. Basically, if you have a couch on the wall, generally speaking, it's because you want to make the most of the space in the room, right?
Oh my gosh! And if
The
the room
distance.
is so big,
If the room is so big that you don't need to put the couch on the wall, you can tell that house is owned by fairly wealthy people.
oh my God, that's so true. Like, as a personal assistant, every house I worked in, there was a couch or two in the middle of the living room because the living room was so big.
Yep.
They could put a couch in the middle of the living room, and they did. Oh, that's like,
Yeah. So they would have the TV on the wall. They would have like this couch that you're sitting on right now. You'd have the TV on the wall. There's enough space to see the television, and then there's enough space behind it.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
I never even thought of that.
You know another good one
What?
is if you can reach the doorknob in your bathroom while you're doing your thing on the toilet, chances are you are not wealthy.
Oh my God, I never even thought of that.
Yep.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Think about it.
That is true.
2 out of 3 of our bathrooms in LA, you could reach the
Oh,
doorknob.
easily. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that is so true. Yeah, because your bathroom is so big.
Your bathroom is, Yeah, if you're wealthy,
Yeah. If your bathroom is if you're wealthy and your bathroom is that big, you cannot reach the doorknob.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if you're not, then it usually goes toilet, sink, shower, all in a line, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
There's no design there per se. You're just basically painting and putting up different shelves, you know?
Yeah.
Because of the way the bathroom had to be built for the space that was allowed. So,
And it's interesting mentioning all of this because obviously we've come across this during our travels, but being in Connecticut, we've come across a lot of second homes, a lot where we're in really expensive areas. And this is just, someone's summer home. And it makes you then think about the lifestyle of wealthy people because you're kind of all over. You're all over it. Like it's all over you, really. And the one thing that we did talk about was it's interesting when you're on a fixed income or a budget or just you're not wealthy, you have to plan stuff. Like, you have to plan vacations. James and I want to go to Montreal in the summer, and we've been planning this for an entire year.
Yeah.
Almost a year, maybe like 8 months, because that's just what you do when you're on a fixed income. But wealthy people don't do that.
Wealthy people do not do that. They say it would be nice to spend March in Nantucket, and the film editor cuts, and the family's in Nantucket in March.
It's true.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe Boston next week. Boom. Here's Boston. Enjoy the chowder.
And being here, you realize like old money doesn't talk about money.
No. Money talks, wealth whispers. You ever hear that?
I haven't.
I've heard it numerous times over the last couple months. I don't know why it just keeps creeping into my Google results.
That's brilliant.
I know.
That is really true.
It is true. It is true. And whenever there's a conversation about money at a table, like a bunch of guys get together, old college roommates or what have you, the wealthy guy in the crowd will say, "We're comfortable." That term gets used a lot. We're comfortable. Or they get quiet during money talks. Like there's always a new money guy in the crowd who's like, "Oh my gosh, you're not going to believe it. I made at least $200K off this deal." The wealthy guy will never be like that. They don't talk about their money.
That is really profound and accurate.
Yep.
That is really accurate. Like I'm in my head thinking of all the people I know who grew up with family that had old money. Yeah.
And think about all those families that you have in old money. How often do you see them blasting somebody on Facebook or TikTok?
No. They're very quiet.
They are. Their digital footprint is very small. They are never going to reveal their true political intentions or nature. Very rarely does true wealth do that. It's generally speaking, it's only new blabby money that does that. Trashy money.
Huh.
You and I have had times in our lives where we've been the trashy money.
We are trashy money.
Yeah.
We don't even have money, and we're trashy.
Well, that's just trashy.
That is just trashy. I remember one time I worked in a home in Los Angeles when I was a personal assistant. It was a very short time. I only worked for this family for 3 weeks. It was short-lived for many reasons. And I remember my replacement, we were talking one time, and I said, "There's so new money." And she said to me, "What do you mean by that?" Because, we're in a multi-million-dollar home, and they were an oil family. And I said, "Oh, just look in their refrigerator." And she goes, "What am I looking for?" And I said, "Just look at the salad dressings." I'm like, "They're a multi-million-dollar family and they have wishbone salad dressing." And she couldn't stop laughing. And I'm like, "What? It's true. Wealth doesn't buy wishbone. Sorry. I mean, they just don't. They're buying like fine dressings for their salad. They're buying high-end olive oils. And it's not even anything they're going to ever put on their counter. I mean, it's going to be something that they just have like in their refrigerator or in their cabinet." And but new money will have a $3 million kitchen and wishbone salad dressing in the refrigerator.
Yep.
You show me new money, I'll show you a wishbone salad dressing somewhere.
Or our daughters actually went to parties where they had like stretch limos for the kids and all that.
Yeah.
Wealthy people, old wealth. Those kids have 3 or 4 really good friends and they can all fit in an SUV.
That's true. Okay, that I know to be the case for sure. Yeah.
So anyway, those are just my observations.
Usually, okay, so in my travels, I can honestly say, and we've talked about this before, we're like, we'll land at a place and there'll be Range Rovers and Mercedes, and you're like, oh my God, there's so much money here. In Connecticut, when you see a 1972 Volvo,
Yeah.
that's money.
You're like, I know that guy's rich.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God,
Yep.
where are we right now? Because I probably can't afford a cheeseburger.
Yep. So anyway, I feel like we should wrap up Mystic a little bit. And the best way to do that is to talk about how I don't like Julia Roberts.
I know. This is really like, I don't even understand it. What did she do to you?
She didn't do it.
Did you not like Pretty Woman? Everyone liked Pretty Woman.
Of course. There was a time where
Did you see Pretty Woman at the theater?
I think I saw it on video.
Have you ever seen a Julia Roberts movie at a theater?
Ocean's 11.
Okay, there were so Steel Magnolias, did not see it.
I fell asleep to that 3 times. We've been over this. It's well talked about.
Pretty
territory.
Woman, you didn't see at a theater.
Did not see that at a theater.
Sleeping with a Stranger, you didn't see at a theater.
Sleeping with an Enemy?
Oh, yeah.
Sleeping with the Enemy?
Yeah.
I saw that with you at the theater. Sleeping with the Enemy? Oh, no, it was the one with, who's that one with?
No, it's like, is Sleeping with the Enemy, is that the name of it? Sleeping with the Enemy?
Oh,
I thought it
no,
was Sleeping with a
Kiss the
Stranger.
Girls.
Okay, that's Ashley Judd. That's completely different.
Oh, sorry.
Sleeping with the Enemy.
Sleeping with the Enemy I did see at the movies.
Oh.
I think with my college girlfriend. That was around the 90s, right?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a
I think
90s
so.
movie.
Yeah. I did not fall asleep for that one. It was suspenseful.
Okay, why don't you like Julia? I'm not a huge Julia Roberts fan, but just because I think she plays the same character in every single movie. But what is your reason?
I think she lost a lot of people going all the way back. I'm old enough to remember when she announced Denzel Washington's Oscar award, and her comment when she opened the envelope was, "Oh my God, I can't believe my life."
What does that mean?
Exactly. What does that mean? It's his award. Why are you talking about how lucky your life is? It was weird. It was odd. It was creepy. It was a Kanye moment, and I haven't liked her since.
Oh, I just thought that like she was such a huge fan that like her life had changed because he won the award. Like she was so happy for
No,
him.
she was already famous. Her life did not change.
No, I meant that like, of course, meant like personally, like she's so happy her life has changed because a colleague won an award that was well deserved. Don't you like that's what like I just thought that's what it meant. Like it was a well deserved Oscar win for one of her favorite colleagues, and it changed her life.
How do you make that your moment? Just read the
It wasn't
name.
like the right thing to do.
Just read the name.
Okay.
What the hell? A black man can't even win his own Oscar award without her saying how great her life is?
Oh, I didn't even think about it that way. Okay. It's lame. She shouldn't have made it about
It
her.
was super
Every
lame,
actor
and it was
makes it about
super
them.
revealing. And that was it. After that, I've been out. I thought she was good in Ocean's 11 because she's part of an ensemble and it wasn't the Julia Roberts show, to your earlier point about how she plays herself in every single movie. And I will concede that she won the Oscar for Erin Brockovich, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
And so
Did you see that at the movies?
I don't think so, but I did see it.
You really are not a fan. I'm not a hater. I don't like the fact that she stole another woman's husband. Like everyone was hating on her when
She did?
Oh, Danny Mulder's her husband, and he was only married like 9 months.
Was this a camera guy?
Yes, but it takes two. So I was always of the mindset like, look, he left his wife.
For Julia Roberts, of course.
But it doesn't like, it takes two people. He didn't have to leave his wife.
You're right.
I mean, it could, I don't know. It's like, it could be anybody. Like at that point, I just thought, okay, he's just a cheater. Like he would have left his wife eventually anyway. It just so happened that, it was Julia Roberts first. But everyone was hating on her for that. And I was like,
well, yeah, she could have any dude in America, probably any single dude in America.
she wanted him. But it has nothing to do with her.
And she got him.
It has nothing to do with her. It's him too. He left his wife that he had just married 9 months prior. But it's both of them. So that didn't even really like make me dislike her. I just have thought like, God, she doesn't have much of a range.
Well, I'm
That's
not
all.
really a hater. I just never think about her. And if I see her name on a marquee, I know.
Generally
okay,
don't.
yeah, I'm like, okay, well, I just saved myself $16.
Oh, so you don't hate her, but you won't go to a movie.
No, I won't. I don't know. Yeah, I don't hate her. I'm indifferent. I'm very stoic when it comes to Julia Roberts movies. I know I'm not going to see them. And so, therefore...
I don't even know what that means, but go
and
ahead.
therefore, I keep scrolling to the next movie.
Okay.
What other movie is available? Because I know I'm not going to go see that one.
All right.
But I'm not like...
But she was tolerable.
You've never seen me like...
in Ocean's 11.
Huh?
She was tolerable in Ocean's 11.
I thought she actually did well in all three of those movies.
I thought so, too.
I thought she played a great ex-wife / love interest or whatever to George Clooney, right?
And she was even spoofing on herself in like Ocean's 12 or
Absolutely.
whatever it was. I thought it was, or 13, but it was really funny.
Yeah. Those movies are incredible.
Yeah.
They're really good. Like, I'm always complaining that nothing is ever new in Hollywood, but when they remade Ocean's 11, they did it. It's as good as the originals.
Okay. So there's an exception to every rule. And you have yours. Yours is Ocean's 11 with Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, thanks for clarifying that. I'm so glad that like we got that out in the open. That's very insightful and helpful to all of our listeners. So yay. Now, if you have listened to this show all the way through and have gotten to this point, check out our Instagram because there's a quiz for you about today's episode. And let's just see how much you really retained.
You're not going to win anything.
No, you're not winning anything. Sorry. But just take the quiz and see if you remember anything.
We're new money. If everybody who gets the right answer gets a doorknob for your little bathroom that you could touch while you're on the toilet.
There you go. Okay, so you do get something. I'll send you a new doorknob.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up this episode. Yes?
Yes. Empty nest, full tank.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.